Good afternoon, and thank you for being here. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Charles D. Smith, and I had the pleasure of being a former Olympian for the United States and played in the NBA for about 10 years. But you would think, why am I interviewing this guest? Well, let me tell you. So when I first finished playing, I got into the technology space, and I have a few of these things right here, which are technology patents. I own a portfolio of patents, which is sports technology. It's actually called the system and method for computer assisted and manual automatic logging of time-based media. And that was filed back in the mid 90s. So I am super excited to talk about our guest, Janan Glasgow George. Many projects Janan has worked on has seen valuation increases of 5x to 15x. Her clients have included the likes of Apple, Visa, Microsoft, and NASA. Janan has spoken about intellectual property before the UN Economic Commissions for Europe, and she has been featured as a speaker at IP conferences across 4 continents. She is definitely a thought leader in this field. Janan has been featured in Bloomberg News and Forbes. She has also been named a member of the Forbes Tech Council. As an inventor, entrepreneur, patent attorney, and former USPTO patent examiner, Janan's background gives her the ability to see intellectual property from the corporate, legal services, and government perspectives. It's great to have you with us. Now, your bio is just super impressive. You have a broad range of knowledge in this space. Can you share more with us about your background and experience, especially on today's topic, which is sports analytics?
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to join you today. Thank you. Well, I guess it's helpful to say I'm a recovered engineer. I started developing new products, and I've been in technology since the 80s, actually working even on a NASA Mars mission research project. But I've always been about technology and about data. And so becoming a patent attorney, as you were showing your patents earlier, was a fantastic way to help others create assets in their areas of interest. So over the last 2 decades plus, I've been working to create assets for companies from high tech to biotech and in the sports technologies area.
Wow.
Absolutely. Sports, of course, it's huge. Sports analytics last year, the market valued over 1.1 billion and climbing over 31% per year. It's fantastic growth, and there's a lot more to come.
You know, when I played in the mid 90s, mid 80s, there was not a lot of sports analytics. You know, later on, we saw this movie with baseball, and they were dealing with sports analytics. And that kind of sort of set the tone, a little pre-movie afterwards. Now analytics is big data. It's all through sports. Can you talk a little bit more specifically about what you see as far as analytics in the sports industry?
I think a lot of analytics started with statistics, right? Just the data, what's happening. It's what's happened in the past. And I think if we fast forward to today, that's really evolved to predictive analytics. It's evolved into augmented reality and visualization and animation rather than just looking at data after the fact. It's always fun to hear sports stats and understand how a player or how a team has done, but it's more interesting when there's real-time stats on almost every aspect of any game in any sport.
Yeah, let's talk about biometrics a little bit. Health and wellness and the industry, it's booming, just like you mentioned, as far as marketing and other aspects of sports and analytics. When you look at health, you got wearable technology that's pulling in so much. What do you think the future holds as far as health and wellness when it comes to biometric technology? How does that help doctors, hospitals? How does that help athletes?
Certainly a good question. we've seen, in particular in the past year in 2020, a lot of movement toward telemedicine and telehealth. So biometrics are certainly an enabling factor. The sensors that provide for temperature monitoring, that provide for hydration, that provide for glucose monitoring, even sleep monitoring. Obviously, people are more and more accustomed to being tracked how many steps per day, the food, the water that we consume. And we are willingly entering into a donation of personal data in exchange for free apps. So I imagine that we will see this data monetized in new and different ways. I think it's going to be customized. I think that's a trend that we will see is the more customized it is, the more positive impact it will have for each person's career. As you're mentioning, well, we know a lot about the human body. One of the things we know is everyone is very different.
It is an awesome experience. And I tend to think that we are only scratching the surface of where technology can go. I mean, when you look at the sports and the entertainment industry, it's so competitive. Everybody wants the best. They don't want to share their ideas. If they have a piece of technology that's at their franchise and it's helping their players, they don't want to let anybody else know. But eventually it gets out and it's very competitive. Do you see an end to this in any kind of way?
Oh, innovation never ends.
Right.
So no, my short answer is no. It will just be a question of what's next.
One of the latest things that I've seen is the non-fungible tokens that are built on. I'm trying to think of. I don't know why I'm having a brain lock, but the security system that they're built on, and I'm noticing that the sales for athletes and these non-fungible tokens are just selling digital player cards, and they created a market. And I just saw on Forbes that in 1 week it eclipsed 50 million in sales. This is another digital technology that's being traded worldwide, and it's merging as a part of e-games. And you know where e-games is going. Can you talk about what you know about the e-games and some of these, everything going digital, the new digital market?
Sure. I think that's definitely a leading factor. I mean, digital in some ways can be more engaging than reality. And so I think that we will see new formats. We will see more options, more alternatives, everything on demand. I mean, digital and artificial are whenever we want them to be. And then, as you were mentioning earlier, just you can, the alternatives, the options are almost endless. So I think esports, e-games, digitized representations of players, of artifacts, of moves, of gaming, that's all going to continue to unfold as our imaginations will run with it.
Right,
I like
right.
it. I think it's interesting. It does present each part challenges, but I think that's going to continue to grow at probably a faster pace than the data analytics.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see with the e-games, you're getting 20 million people online just watching people play video games. It's a huge market. I know, in fact, that there's a couple of companies that I've talked to in Europe that were buying up land close to airports around the United States, building these, 1,000, 1,500 high-tech small arenas for gaming in the future. So there's a market coming into play here that they don't care about the people sitting in the stands. It's the people online. And that creates a whole nother market of advertising when you're getting 20 million people watching an event. How much do you see as far as the growth of that industry of esports?
Sure, and I think it's bringing in a new audience, right? I think it's certainly something that can engage the youngest to the oldest, but I think it's bringing in new audience members that would not have ordinarily gone to a sporting event or who wouldn't take the time to go to something that is, going to last for hours. It's interesting to me that esports also is now in the college and universities. There are courses that relate to it. I do think AR and VR, the augmented reality and the virtual reality devices that let people insert themselves into the mix is going to increasingly become interesting and entertaining for people. And I think it can take us beyond what our personal abilities are. And when we get behind, as a fan, get behind a player, I remember Michael Jordan, for example, like getting into that move, if you could experience that, the idea of being that superstar player like yourself, even, you would want to take it to the nth degree. It may even be something that, we haven't imagined yet. We haven't imagined yet what some of the innovations will be. So I see that continuing to evolve for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Your question.
It's interesting you say that. It's like it goes beyond the imagination. It can just continue to evolve.
Yes.
You have so much knowledge in this space. I want to know a little bit more about your background, how you got to where you are, because when I read your bio and did a little homework on you, you have a broad sense of knowledge across the spectrum of technology in a lot of different areas. How did that come about?
Oh, thank you. It's a great question. A lot of that is from data. So while I've worked as a patent attorney for about 22 years in private practice, I have also seen more patents and explored trends in data with our own proprietary and patented software. Our current offering is a patent forecast. The reason that data is so interesting is because you can only invent from what you know. The more you see, the more you know. So I can virtually experience a ton of market trends, a lot of technology trends, innovation trajectories that I don't personally have had to have been involved with, but the data is there. So I like to think of it as exploring, like in Google Maps. It's like Google Maps for patents. So with a patent forecast, it's changing like the weather. We can look at the big picture for patterns, what's coming, what has happened, what's projected for tomorrow before it's here, and to drill down into what's my specific neighborhood like, besides looking at the broader picture. So it's really driven by data, a lot of it. And most companies only invent inside their confines, inside their business, unless they acquire another company. It's usually kind of an evolution of innovation, not a revolution of innovation. But when we look across companies, we can get more idea stimulation of how to combine things. As you know from your own experience with patents, there really a lot of the innovation is new combinations of things that are known. It's improvements over what exists already. But so looking at them one at a time is important, but it's more important first to have a big picture and to see what's changing over time. One of the things we know about patent data is that it leads the market. You have to file patents before you can have public use. That's just the law. So if we look at patent data and combine it from what we see in the market, we get a really holistic picture. And we get more predictive capability because we can see things that don't exist yet in the market. And that's what I love. And that's a huge part of what's enriched and nourished my background across areas, is exploring them with patent data.
So would you say that you were able to sit in a seat where you had information coming and going in different directions, and you were able to capitalize? And the key is understanding what you're saying to then broaden your scope in technology.
Absolutely. And we do it for clients as well. I'm an investor. I do angel investment and some VC investment. And part of what we do to increase our likelihood of a return on investment is to leverage this data and to deploy it in a way that positions the company for higher growth and for exit. It's a distinct competitive advantage to know what's coming before it hits, to know what your competitor is doing before it's announced. So we've deployed it in a number of ways. For me, it's also really interesting just to learn.
Right. Well, can you talk a little bit more about that? In your bio, you were able to help companies utilize IP to increase their valuation, and it said from 5x even as much as 15x. Talk a little bit about what is that strategy like, and how do you work with a company to get them to understand if they went in this direction, here's where your growth is?
Sure. And a lot of that is data visualization. It's making something really complicated accessible. If you don't know about your competitive advantage or you don't know about your assets in a company, how are you going to manage it? CEOs today know intimate details to the minute, almost real time, about every asset in the company and many of their people, this intellectual capital that walks in and out of their doors every day. But almost none of them have an up-to-date view on intellectual assets, patent assets, because they're complicated, they're dense. You held up your document. It takes hours to read, a few of them. To read thousands of patents would take days, weeks, months. By the time you're finished, the data's old, it's stale. This is a problem. So our innovation to create patent forecasts was to provide something that makes it accessible for people who aren't patent attorneys, for the business leader, for the executive, for the investor, so that you can see where you stand. If you don't know where you're standing on the basketball court, you can't own your zone. Right. If you're standing in the wrong place at the wrong time, it's over. You're not running the play. If you're in the paint too long, you have a penalty, right? So you want to be where the ball is going to be. You need to have that engagement. You need to own your zone and be in the zone. We use this data to advise clients their context. Where are you standing? Where do you need to be? What's moving around you so that you can move to where you want to be in the future? You have to do it ahead of everyone else. It's a race to file patents. So once we make this data available, we find the decision making is easy. It's not persuasion. Business leaders make good decisions. Actionable data is what we strive for.
Wow. In your experience, I personally would like to know, and I'm sure others would like to, what are some of the really exciting things? I know you've seen a lot. This might be a hard question, but what are some of the really unique things that you've seen that has actually moved you to say, wow?
Oh, that's a great question. It's usually the things that are unexpected. Like when we think about evolution, it's small iterations. It's things that change over a long period of time. But disruptors, things that are surprising, those are the ones that make me say, wow. And disruption for the sake of disruption can be negative, not a good thing. But those things that solve problems, because they've been approached in a way that's fundamentally different. And often that's from changing your context, changing your point of view. That's how you become a disruptor. And then I think just imagination, right? People who have experience, you're experienced in sports, you can see where things are going with data. But when you add data to that, then you become a great possible disruptor in a problem-solving kind of way. So disruptors make me say, wow. We're working with some technology today that will provide display technology with enhanced colorization, something that will allow us to see color in a new way. Look how much screen time we all have. If you can enhance that so that it's more stimulating to our brains, to our emotions, that's exciting. So, that's one technology, for example. I mean, others are really solving problems that impact our lives every single day. The electric power grid. having reliability and stability. Thinking of it in a way that it's such an old technology, the disruptors are saying, why isn't this more like instant settlement? You know how our mobile phones used to have roaming packages and we never knew what it would cost if we traveled across the country or to a different one. Today it's seamless. It's just, it follows me, follow me roaming. If you apply that to the electric power grid, then I don't have to worry about paying at a point for my car charging. It'll just follow my car, just like my phone. So things that are like that, that are essential and important every day, but are disruptive, that will change the way things happen. Another really exciting technology as an investor, myself investing in private companies, is a technology that uses the blockchain and tokenization of securities to open up private markets for anyone to participate. That's pretty exciting. It gives liquidity. It should improve investment engagement with earlier stage companies, which improves economies, more jobs, more hiring. Get excited about disruptive technologies like that.
Wow. You know, one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about a little bit is SMT. Can you tell the audience what that company is all about and what you do for it?
Oh, sure. I am a patent attorney representing Sports Media Technologies, SMT. So public information only. They're an amazing company that was established in the 70s by Gerard Hall. He's the founder and he is the CEO of that company. They have evolved the way that people engage with sports entertainment, visualization, data, graphics, overlays, dynamic interaction. They recently did, of course, the Super Bowl. You love the 3D graphics in the end zone.
Right.
That's great. Obviously the football yellow line, the tracking of players, the tracking of objects, other visualization like ghost car in NASCAR or in racing. They're literally in every single sport, and they're influencing from the start to the broadcast to the data and engagement. It's an amazing company that started out solving a problem in an exceptional way. They're a very innovative company. They are an inventive company and a really positive culture. It's a joy to work with them.
Yeah, I remember when they came on the scene and they were providing different, like you said, different visual experiences in watching a sporting event. And that kind of took everybody's mind to the next level. And even watching an event, I think some people who are not into sports, SMT would be responsible for making them a sports fan because of that visual experience that they gave them.
I'm going to share my screen and share a little bit of our interactive visuals with Pat and Forecast for you. So now you should see our magic number sports analytics sector. So as I mentioned, we like to start from the big picture. What's happening? Here we can see the top 10 companies. So in just a few minutes, you're going to have a taste of what's happening, who's investing, and what their stake is. Some of the companies you recognize easily: Disney, who acquired ESPN. SMT, Sports Media Technologies, is number 2 in terms of patent applications and issued patents in the US. WinView, Blast Motion, Nike's rounding out our top 5. But you see about half the investment of Disney. Disney's made acquisitions, so you either build or buy or both. It's pretty amazing. So what we see, research in this area is projecting growth up to 5.2 billion in the next 3 to 4 years. Obviously, Adidas in the top 10, Zebra Technologies, backed by $3 billion entity. And this sector is built on data analytics, which include image and video, synchronization, telemetry, and predictive analytics, for example. And then data application that goes from broadcast to coaching and training and fantasy sports. We track news and insights. As I mentioned, we bridge over the gap, not just patent data. We're seeing a lot of growth here in the last 2 years, and we're expecting 2021 to top that. This growth over 5 years will be greatly exceeded in just the first 6 months of this year.
Can I interject for 1 second? When you just talked about the growth below in the graph chart, and I saw, I think it's applications, that's where the major growth is coming from. Is there a certain type of application that we see in the industry that's kind of parallel to what's happening? There's a sort of a growth strategy with applications?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to reveal that to you in just a moment when we look at Radian. So this is the top level. Here's what's happening. There's more patent filing than issuances. There are a few reasons probably for that, but we do expect applications to far outpace the 2020 in the next year. But let's look at how, like what's behind that. I'm going to take you to our patent Radian, which is unique to us. This is our weather. This is our view. Every dot in this diagram represents a patent. I'm just going to click the solid. Every dot is a patent. You can see who owns them. So each one of these is an asset. The applications, as you just mentioned, we can see here, both in data analytics and data application. More in the data analytics than application we see in the last 2+ years. But let's change our view. 5 years, even 10 years, to have a different perspective on data analytics and data application. And you'll note that the companies can change over time. Here's SMT, just with patent applications. Let's put the patents in as well.
Wow.
So
Awesome.
you can see a lot of their recent activity in the last 5 years covering analytics more heavily than application, but they've had a solid base even over the last 10 years. Let's look at Disney, even more populated. WinView, specifically in analytics. So you can see company by company who's active. Blast Motion is more recent, and obviously making a blast here in data analytics. This is a correlation system for sensors. Swing analysis method. So you can kind of very quickly, without reading any patents, see who's investing, who's inventing, and what are they doing.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. This is an
so
awesome
entertaining.
chart.
Let's go into the data analytics. That breaks down by predictive all the way to image and video analytics, synchronization. Now you see the numbers have changed a little. SMT over 10 years, kind of a pretty good play, but a lot recently. Let's just look in the past year, in 2020, SMT's leading, WinView, only in synchronization. So again, you haven't read anything, but I know if I need to buy a company that's doing synchronization, I'm going to look at WinView, not SMT. What's happening with this company? Who are they? Second Spectrum. I don't know if you've heard of them or not.
I have not.
They started out of, I think 2013, 2014, and won an MIT Sports Analytics conference for a paper. Since then, they've raised $20 million in funding.
Wow.
And they are doing a lot on this, as you can see, the image and video analytics. Let's look, spatiotemporal patterns. These are all very similar, a family of patterns, real-time camera positioning. So now I can see quickly a lot of titles are the same. They have one family that's based on one core innovation. That's kind of interesting about them. SMT, obviously the automated umpiring, tracking for privatization, tracking balls, sporting implements. Do you see the diversity with SMT versus Second Spectrum? So this is how we have fun in patent forecast. We can look at any company that we want to. I'm going to move this. Say that we want to take, this might be kind of fun. We want to look at Nike over time. Whoa. They're not very active in data analytics. We remember before it's in data application. Mm-hmm. Nike's going to need to partner or buy. They're too late to build. So now we have a little more insight on Nike, right?
I see. I see what you're saying. Yep. This is awesome information.
It's a great way to explore the world of the business and the innovation of sports analytics combined.
Sure. There's a lot of there's a ton of legal work in here too.
There is. And kind of a fun thing is that you can drill down into any one of the, here's Intel. Oh my gosh. Isn't that exciting? They have an issued patent. We can dive into the full patent.
Wow.
Right here and read what's happening with Intel. Why would Intel be in sports analytics? Oh, they're tracking sports implements. And here are the claims. We even have a unique way of reading the claims of a patent so that you can quickly get to, it's a swing analyzer. It looks at follow through. Now you know whether or not you care about what Intel's doing just from that view.
Well, let me ask you, so these are, what do you look at, the top, say, 10, 20 companies, or how do you gather the information? How do you decide what companies you're going to put into this analytical format?
Oh, great question. This is actually not my decision or a person's decision. This is actually built on our machine learning platform that determines what patents get categorized into what subcategories and labels. Patent documents can be very long. The claims plus the document help determine how they're categorized. Every patent teaches you something. It's a solution, an inventive solution to a problem. So this is where I say the more you read, the more you know. The more you know, the more you can invent. So when we look at what we're thinking of, say you're a startup company even, or you're a large company that wants to buy in an area, you can explore kind of serendipitously, like I am right now, to see who's in your video analytics space, or maybe you want to go to predictive, IBM, active with AI and predictive. Stats perform. We can just see who's active recently and perhaps who's been active for a while in this area.
What is Stats Perform? Is that that's a company?
It's another company. Yes.
Wow.
And we can drill down to find out about them and who they are and what they're doing. Do they have funding? So for every company, we can just explore. So if you can think of a technology area or a business market, there's probably a patent forecast sector that can help guide your business decision-making around invention, investments, merger acquisition, and your own strategy as a company.
It's just amazing how you can just roll your cursor over any of these, what I would just basically call dots. Yeah. And there's a company there that's doing something in the space. That's just amazing.
And every dot is a lot of detail. You can see who the inventors are. You may want to hire someone who's particularly innovative. If you need to have something that's about video analytics, then you need to see who's inventing and what capabilities they could bring.
And this is Magic Number?
Magic Number is our company. Patent Forecast is our software platform.
I see. Got it. Got it. Wow, this is an awesome, awesome piece of information. That's almost endless as far as somebody who wants to know about. For me, I just, anyone who would want to know about the patent space, your technology provides that. It's like it's better than I would call the Dewey Decimal System of old of the library. You can just go in and thumb through and get all the details and the information that you want. That's an awesome piece of technology. Now, who built that?
Oh, thank you. I have a team, a really great team. One of the people I should mention is Taylor Brockman, who's a serial entrepreneur, very successful and really brilliant programmer and architect. So Taylor built our platform, our system, based on my experience, pattern recognition, and information we've known for working in these areas over 20 years, and helped us to integrate aspects of AI that make it possible to do something that would take dozens of people and a lot of time.
So I have one more broad question for you. Please share with us what excites you moving forward. What technology, what industry, when you get excited about something dealing with technology, what is it?
Sure. It's hard for me to pick one, right? But if I have to pick one kind of label, it's AI. I think artificial intelligence has applications from medical diagnostics to investing, to management of things like the power grid, to predictive analytics for sports. I think if I pick one thing, it's artificial intelligence that's going to make impact for the next few decades to come.
I'm sorry, I know it's one question, but every time you say something, you give me something else to ask you.
Of course.
But you have this merger taking place where VR isn't quite here yet, but you have Oculus as a device, you have HP working on it, you have all these companies. Where do you think that's going to go, where we're going to see a immersive experience of VR?
Yeah, I think it's going to cover more than just our sense of sight. I think it's going to have to address all of our senses to take its full potential. Of course, you always have Elon Musk. I like to keep an eye on anything he's doing. Isn't he implanting into our brains already for enhancing our memories as well as our experiences? I imagine that we're going to start crossing the line pretty soon with that. But I think stimulating more than just our visual sense is coming.
You know, I'm being selfish. I just continue. Every time you say something, you pull something else, and I just want to keep talking to you. But I know
Thanks.
We're coming to an end here. Can I ask one more question?
Of course.
Okay, you mentioned Elon Musk. You know, I often think of how technology comes into play where we as human beings adopt it. You know, eventually we adopt everything that pretty much comes, but it takes time. Talk about the self-driving cars. I kind of think about that because when people said we're going to fly in airplanes and you think about this big heavyweight piece of machinery that's going to take you up in the air and take you places, I'm sure back then people were saying, no, that's not going to happen. Self-driving cars.
Oh, I love this. We're going to need a whole nother episode. So I am a huge fan of the autonomous vehicles. I mean, we're seeing them already as UAVs, right, as drones that can manage packages and carry payload. But I think with the autonomous vehicles, and we've been talking a little bit about Elon Musk, he's amazing because he's not just inventing, he's innovating. Innovation makes impact. There were more Tesla electric vehicles ordered, I think, last year for Tesla electric vehicles than all the top luxury groups combined, the BMW, Mercedes, Porsche. And it's because the experience of driving it is a joy and it has zero emissions. The technology is just superior. And one of the reasons that's great is because he's going back to first physics principles and really looking at what's the most impactful feature, function, and component. What's the most efficient way to deliver it? and really not just doing things the way they have been done.
Mm-hmm.
What an innovation it is that the car I drive today, I have a Model 3, it did not have the autonomous driving features at that time when I bought it 2 years ago that it has today. Now it can detect traffic cones and people. It can automatically stop at stop signs. It's a software update.
Wow.
The hardware was established for the minimum sensors that they needed and the processor, of course. But think of all the data that car is intaking. The Tesla system was based on sensors from all the cars feeding back in. That's data analytics. I'm going to get a software upgrade when they've passed through their beta for full self-driving. It's working really well now. I'll just get a notification, and if I want to enable it, I will have it.
Wow.
That's outrageous innovation.
Wow. Capturing
and if
data
you haven't
on the
tried
fly.
it, you have to. You have
Well,
to.
you know what? I did try it, but I'm too tall. I can't fit in a Tesla.
Woo. Well, Model S, the Model S. Have you tried
I don't
Model
know. My
S?
legs are pretty long. I'm 6'10".
Oh.
I need headroom and leg room. So
Okay, Elon, come on.
Come on, Elon.
Innovate this. It's just a joy. It never gets old. It's the best acceleration. I never have to go to gas station. Things like that really positively affect our environment, improve our lives, the quality of our lives, and that also are simpler. I don't have to change oil. I don't have to have all of the filters and everything else modified. There's fewer parts. It's less to manufacture, so there's less waste. It's pretty impressive. I like the autonomous vehicles will let people work while they're commuting, and will reduce accidents and things. It's autonomous vehicles, autonomous transportation is closer than you think. It's exciting. We'll get you a tall car.
That got you excited. I can tell.
I like cars. I do.
Janan Glasgow-George, it was awesome interviewing you today. Your knowledge, you have a wealth of knowledge across all platforms and technology. Now I see why you've been on IP conferences across 4 continents. Thank you for sharing with me today. I've enjoyed it so much. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a joy. Thanks.